Hi everyone, this is Margaret Manning with 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. My guest today is Nancy Parode. Nancy is a travel writer. She works for About.com and works specifically for boomers and seniors. And it's great to have you here, Nancy. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So Nancy, we have 50,000 women now in our 60 and Me community, and they love to travel. We get lots of stories. But we had some questions recently about, ways to save money while you're traveling. And the topic of travel clubs, senior travel clubs came up. And I'd love to get your insights on what you think about them. Are they a good idea? What's your opinion?
Well, I think the first thing to mention is that there's several different kinds of senior travel clubs. A travel club is some kind of organization where you normally will pay like an annual fee, like dues, to join the club.
Yeah.
And then once you're a member, then you can take advantage of whatever it is that they're offering. Some travel clubs offer travel discounts. Some travel clubs are sort of themed travel clubs. For example, there are women-only travel clubs. There are RV travel clubs. So if you are interested in a particular type of transportation, or you want to just travel with women, or perhaps you have a super fascinating hobby like trains or something along those lines, you can probably find a travel club that focuses on your interest or your mode of travel. Then there are also sort of social travel clubs. So they're more for meeting people in your local community and having, maybe an evening where you have a travel presentation, you get some information, and you can meet other like-minded seniors who also enjoy traveling and expand your friendship base and maybe find travel companions for future trips. So that's another kind.
Yeah.
So it's part of your research into senior travel clubs has to focus on, exactly which kind of club you might be interested in joining.
And I suppose there could be groups where travel is just one of the things that they do. So, for example, we have a group of women in the place that I live that does all kinds of activities and events, but twice a year they have an event. They have a travel opportunity. We go to south of France and have a theme. We're going to look at at the monasteries in south of France. And so travel is not their thing. They wouldn't be called a travel club, but they would be that travel is part of their offering. So, there are some interesting ones and some good ones. But what's the other side? I'm gathering that there's some that are need to look out for.
Yes. As you research senior travel clubs, you want to do a web search on their name and do some checking. You can, for example, research their name and the word scam or the word ripoff, something like that, because unfortunately there are scammers out there that set up a senior travel club, and either it kind of works one of two ways. Either they just make off with your membership dues and you really don't get anything in return. They promise all of these great discounts, but when you go to try to use them, they're not available, they're not there.
Yeah.
And so you've lost whatever the membership fee is. Or the worst kind is the senior travel club where you actually pay for the trip and then the whole thing just vanishes overnight. The website goes down, tickets never arrive, and, all of your money is gone. And sad but true, those things do happen. So it's important to do research before you join a travel club.
So, great. So, and people don't know to Google words like, the name of the company plus lawsuit or scam, or because you'll find so much information. And then, of course, maybe using the advice of friends who have gone on these trips and can vouch for them. If you know anyone because they do know, like, for example, they could go to About.com and I suppose and ask you what your opinion was on something. But tell me about some of the ones that you know about that are good for older women.
Well, there's one that's for women who like to travel. It's called Thelma and Louise, and my assumption is that they do not drive off cliffs, but that instead they set up trips. They have a really neat website that you can look at. So if you're interested in women-only travel, I would certainly send you there. In the United States, where I live, we have an RV travel club called Boondockers Welcome, and this is where RV travelers host each other in their driveways. Boondocking, or dry camping, it's sometimes called, is where you just pull your RV into some parking space and just camp. There aren't hookups, so there's no water hookup or electrical hookup. But in Boondockers Welcome, what they do is they take turns kind of hosting each other, so that if you're going to a particular place and you want to stop there, but there isn't an RV site that you could actually camp at, there's no KOA or whatever, Boondockers Welcome will help you by giving you a place to park your RV for whatever length of time you want to stay there. That's kind of nice. And because you're being hosted
Yeah.
by an RVer, you can swap travel
Of
stories and,
course, yeah.
meet some new people, and possibly they could come and stay in your driveway.
That is a really cool idea. I don't have an RV myself personally, but I can see how that would be so useful. It's kind of like an Airbnb or a couch surfer
Yes,
surfing
exactly.
for.
Exactly.
But that's one presumably where there's a membership fee, and then
Yes.
you
It's
join.
pretty small, but
Yeah.
then, you get that gives you access to the database of the other boondockers so that
See, that's a
you
great
can
idea.
request places to park your RV.
Now that's a great idea. Now, what about are there any others that you can think of that would be good for seniors?
Well, I think what you probably want to do is look to your local community and see if there's something
Mm.
near you. Oftentimes, if there's a senior center or a recreation center that your local community sponsors, they will also have trips that they offer. So that might be an alternative to a travel club, or they might have recommendations for you. Sometimes you can set up your own trip instead for a similar price. So again, you want to do a bunch of research before you pay a membership fee, especially if it's more than, 50 or $60 or euros, because, when you get into the hundreds of whatever currency happens to be in your wallet,
Yeah.
that's a reasonably big investment. So you want to be sure you've done your homework.
Yeah, and I think that there are probably a lot that we're not aware of that are just, like you said, interest groups, like women who like to do certain things, like people who like to go on cooking excursions, or they have a passion for a particular part of the country. I know that there's a group that I've actually connected with called Broads Abroad. And Broads Abroad is based in, I think, Australia, somewhere in New Zealand, Australia. And they have a good sized database of women all around the world who you can contact if you're in their city and stay with them. It's they have a verification process, and it's trust, there's trust in reputation based trust involved. But I'm sure that there's plenty of those, and maybe we'll do some research in a future article and list those, because it is a great way to meet people if you're traveling solo, and also to save some money.
Absolutely.
And meet like-minded people, I guess, people that love what you love. That's great. Is there any of this? The Affordable Travel Club, what's that one? I had written down that name. What is that?
That's a pretty large travel club. And this is more, they organize trips. Some of them are very large, extensive, long, destinations far from home, and some are more local. So this is just another, of the more established travel clubs that you don't have to live in a particular area to join. They have a really great website. I spent a whole bunch of time looking at it when I was writing the article, going, oh, I want to go here. I wonder if I should join this. So, definitely something to look at.
Yeah, and also AARP, I think, has some programs as well. So there's a lot. But
Yes,
this is good to get started. Now you can all read the article that this video is included in, and get all of Nancy's advice and suggestions. And thanks again, Nancy. Always enjoy talking with you. I always want to go somewhere after I speak with you.
That's my job, make you want to travel.
I get inspired, but thanks again for being here. Really appreciate it.